guys, so have you ever heard the story of Dan Burisch? He had like one notable interview in the early 90s, and supposedly he worked with a extraterrestrial as a microbiologist, which they called J-Rod, which apparently meant 15 for like the light years away from his galaxy, which was Zeta Reticuli. So this is all allegedly, of course, but I never had heard of him. If you go and watch one of his interviews, the one that I watched was posted about a year ago on the channel called Night Shift, and this guy Clint, he kind of analyzed his body language, and I am telling you, even my husband, who is very analytical, we both agreed, I wouldn't doubt it. Okay? Go find this and tell me what you think. And then he kind of went silent. And his whole purpose was he wanted to be able to have a secure briefing with Congress about it because, he didn't want to be in the black ops, anymore. And if you go down this rabbit hole, it's very interesting. And this is stuff that was in the early 90s, and now congressional hearings have come out in the last couple of years, and some of the stuff that Dan says is the same stuff that I'm losing names here. The stuff that he says is typical of what David Grush has said. So yeah, I just wanted to point out that this was a captivating, if true, story and account of a biologist who worked at S4 Papoose Lake, same thing, and took samples, he said probably over 300 samples, and the alien or extraterrestrial, he doesn't like calling him an alien, would literally just hold out his arm, and he was very depressed. He was being held captive in this clinosphere where it's basically a bubble, and he wanted to be a part of what the other J-Rods and other beings were part of, which was to do with some treaty that our U.S. government signed with extraterrestrials called the T9 Treaty. I don't know what that is, but for some reason he was the one being experimented on, and he goes into how their DNA is different than ours, of course. It's more of a, what did he say, not floral design, but anyway, I want to know what your thoughts are. When I go on Reddit, of course, everyone's dispelling him and saying it's all BS. But I tend to think that's our habit now, is saying everything is BS. When I think that it very well could be true. And the level of detail of the place that he worked and the things that he was doing and the being, and how, of course, he communicated with him telepathic wise, which is what we hear over and over again, and just insane details, and it's so interesting. So go ahead and go watch that and get back to me.